moving on, we're introducing to you the only lady speaker that we have also in this conference. She is unique, successful, charismatic, and I believe all of you have took a taxi before, right? Right? All of you have? So, after spending a decade of experience in the digital space, so this smart and charismatic lady, she created a new independent taxi booking mobile app. Well, I believe some of you have that app on your phone. I do. I have that app on my phone and I need a taxi. And she expanded more than tenfold in just 1 year. How do you do that? It's amazing. All right, less of me and more of her. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Cheryl, the regional marketing head of MyTeksi.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And let me just adjust this a bit. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. Today I'll actually be speaking about growth hacking, as the MC mentioned just now, I'm actually the regional marketing manager for MyTeksi. And today I'll be speaking about growth hacking, and what it is actually I just want to share with you how we've expanded over the past couple years across Southeast Asia. Before I begin, can I just get a show of hands of how many of you have heard of MyTeksi? Okay, great. So for the benefit of you who don't know who or what is MyTeksi, we're actually a smartphone application that resides in your handphone. And we allow you to book a taxi seamlessly across 6 cities today. So all major cities in ASEAN, you can use the same app to actually book a taxi. Our mission is really about providing fast, safe, and certain taxi rides. So, as a company, we started in Malaysia. We are extremely aggressive about growth. And the reason why is if you are a startup and you don't grow, you actually die, right? So for us, we started 2 years ago, and since then, we're now in 6 countries, 17 cities, and we do 1 taxi booking every second. We're in over 1.7 million mobile phones, and at least 300,000 people use us once a month, if not many, many times more. So I get asked about growth a lot because I think for a Malaysian company, we've had phenomenal growth. And the term growth hacking is one that is very hot in the Silicon Valley, in technology companies today. But to be really fair, and you can read about this, go on TechCrunch or anything, read about what growth hacking is. But I want to be honest, for us, when it came to growth hacking, it was kind of accidental. It was accidental because for us, we didn't have much money, and we just needed to think of creative ways of how to grow. And that's how we became like accidental growth hackers. But if you ask me, growth hacking is really here to stay. And the reason why is because if you think of global brands like Instagram, like Facebook, like Twitter, like YouTube, you won't remember things like who did their marketing. You actually won't think of the agency that they use, but you'll think of interesting things that they've done with their product that makes you keep going back and back. So let me give you an example. Facebook, when they first started, a big part of their growth came from this feature that they added called photo tagging. So I remember I used to work and then I get a notification on my email that says, so-and-so tagged you in a photo. And I'll quickly go back to Facebook, I'll check it out, and then I'll tag my other friends, and then they go back to it. And that's basically what growth hacking is about. It's about simple tweaks that you do to your product that make people keep going back. Another good example is actually YouTube. When they started, they were one of the most reliable services that allowed you to embed videos onto your site. And that's a really big part of how they grew. So While I'm not really the biggest expert on being a growth hacker, I really like its principles and its practices because it's very focused. As a startup, you need to be completely obsessive about growth, and that is what growth hacking is all about. You have a singular goal, and you have a very clear goal, and that goal is about growth. The second reason why I like growth hacking is because I think I can be quite egoistical. But when you use growth hacking as a principle, then your decisions are not driven by feelings, but driven by analytics. It's a very big part of what growth hacking is all about. You look at numbers to help you grow. And lastly, I feel less alone. I think sometimes when you work in a tech company or in many companies, marketing feels very disjointed from the rest of the business. But one of the principles of growth hacking is that it is a function not just of marketing, but it is about product, marketing, and data. And these three things combined form the heart of what growth hacking is all about. So today I'm going to share with you 3 growth hacking principles at MyTeksi, things that we really believe in that has helped us grow to the company that we are today. And the first one is about product market fit. And basically what we believe in is you should not waste money on advertising until you find product market fit. So what really is product market fit, right? So I'm just going to show you a chart of our growth, and if you look at it, you will see that in the first year of our operations, we've been around for 2. We started in June 2012. For the first year, we didn't really spend much time expanding out of KL, out of Malaysia. And the reason is because we spent a lot of time tweaking our product and making it a much better product. When we started out, we didn't really know what passengers wanted, what drivers wanted. And we spent a full year just experimenting and iterating on the product. And finally, when we felt that we had it right, you can see our growth start to spike. And then after that, we started expanding in a new city almost every month. And so that's our history. It's broken into 2 very distinct parts, before and after what we feel is product market fit. So product market fit, there's 2 parts of it. It starts first with, and there are 2 major words here. There's a product and there's market. And the best product built by the best team in a market that's too small will still die. Okay, so when it comes to product market fit, you really need to be in the right market. And I'll give you an example. I don't know whether all of you watch The Simpsons, but there is this car that Homer Simpson built, and it was called the Homer, and it has 3 horns because you can't find a horn whenever you need it, and it has 2 domes, one to separate him from the children. And so Homer built this car called the Homer, and nobody bought it because there was no market for it. Right, so I think at the end of the day, whatever business that you're in, to find product market fit, you need to be in a market that's big enough. And so, for example, if you look at us, what's our market potential? We plan to be the dominant taxi app in Southeast Asia. 600 million people, 500,000 taxis, 7 million taxis ride a day. So this is our market. And the second part about product market fit, besides being in the right market, is about having solved a real problem. Because when you solve a real problem, it means that you have a solution that consumers want, right? And for us, the real problem was actually taxi service in Malaysia. So I'm sure all of you have experienced this. You walk out of Sunway Pyramid, or you walk out of Bukit Bintang, and you try to hail a taxi, and the driver will say, Sunway Pyramid is too far. They kind of tell you where you should be going. And then you might say, okay, I want to go here. Then they said, okay, I'll take you, but the meter's spoiled. I'll charge you a fixed rate, which is equivalent to daylight robbery. And in the worst case, you actually might get robbed. I think our taxi service is quite notoriously known for being bad, right? So we really wanted to solve this problem, and I think for us, there were many issues that we had to tackle as MyTeksi, but we focused on several, and I'll just give you an example of how we solved the problem of safety among women. I think if you read the papers, you know that this has happened before, and is a big concern among women, especially traveling at night. So for us to solve this problem, we did a few things. It's a combination of offline. So sure, technology is great, but also at the same time, if you really want to solve a problem, you need to see how you can prevent it. And so it starts with the screening of drivers. We screen the drivers, we matched drivers' car plate together with the license. We then use technology, so you know who is coming to pick you up, you have his photo, you have his handphone number, so you know exactly who's the driver that's picking you up. And we're the first in the world that allows you to track your ride, meaning once you get in the taxi, you can share your exact location with friends and family through social network or in private through email or SMS. Right? So I think besides safety, there are other things that concern our consumers, and I won't go into it, but it's things like certainty. You want to know how much you should be paying for that taxi ride. You want to know who exactly is picking you up, and you want speed. You want to know how far is that driver, and for us, within 1 minute, you know whether or not you have a cab coming your way. So I think we have a pretty good product, and I think our app is really beautiful and things like that. But I think what makes us really proud is that what our consumers say about us, right? When we look at our consumers over the past 1 year, they're twice as likely to book a taxi. So if they started with us and they only book a taxi once a month, now they do twice a month or 4 times a month, right? And then from our own independent survey, everybody say it's much better than road hailing, and women feel comfortable using our product. So back to product market fit. So what is it? Get a big enough market and make things that people want. And I think that's a very important part of being a successful business. So the second part of our growth is that when it comes to marketing, science trumps art. This is our second principle. And it's a principle that hurts because I think I'm quite a creative person. But for us, we are very data-driven as a company, and it's what helps drive our decision. So this is a campaign that we did because, we're about taxis and everything. So we encourage people not to drink and drive. And that poster says that if I start to look sexy, book a taxi. It probably means that you had too much to drink. And this is in a lot of clubs like Zouk, Inventry, and things like that. And we're there so that we remind people that if they drink too much, then, please take it. And actually, that's me in the poster if you couldn't figure it out. And that's our head of product. So, this was a campaign that a lot of people liked. It was featured in marketing magazines and things like that, and they said that, wow, it's really good, a lot of buzz and everything. And if you look at the poster at the bottom there, we have a promo code where we ask people to key in the word sexy, and they'll get a discount off the ride, okay? So, the campaign generated 59 rides after the posters being up for about 3 months. So I think while in terms of getting awareness and buzz, because we're a data-driven company, we feel that this is the best campaign out there that we've done. Okay, so, and I guess for us, the reason why is because there's no enforcement in Malaysia. While it was good for awareness, for the specific purpose of preventing people from driving and drinking and driving, there's not enough enforcement. So I think it's just a reminder for us as marketeers to always look at the data and try to make sure that it matches with your objectives, right? So I think a lot of companies here are aware, if you have websites or whatever, there's a lot of analytics that you can look at, page views, bounce rates, site unique visitors, and all of that. And it's very overwhelming. I think it's like, wow, I need to know all these things. And for us, there's even more data. How many drivers, how long they stay, how long they take to sign up, how many jobs they take, how many cancellations they do, and things like that. And it gets like, there's so much data. In a world where everybody is talking about big data, a startup company like us, we're actually talking about just focus on one number that matters. And this is our principle when it comes to data. We need to know, we focus on only just one metric. Okay, and for us, our one metric that matters is actually the number of successful rides. This number is actually the only number that really matters because it tells us everything there is to know about a business. A successful ride means that a booking is made and a driver accepts it, right? And it is that one number that tells us where our business is heading. Of course, there are many other numbers which are important, but we just focus on one metric. And as a company, that is our goal, to have X amount of rides in X amount of time. And then, of course, then we understand all the factors that influence this important metrics. And whenever it goes up and down, we look at what influences it. So I think for a lot of SMEs, when you don't have enough time to look at so many things, try to understand for your business, what is that one number that matters to your business? Understand everything that influences it, and then just look at that, and then only drill down. And I think it's very important when it comes to identifying that metric that matters, to choose the right one. And the reason is because it's very easy to drive conversion to the wrong audience. So let me give you an example. This is a game, and I used to be also from the gaming industry. And for the gaming industry, usually you look at active number of players, the amount of people playing your game. But I think what they told the designer, I want downloads. So the target for this campaign was I want downloads. So this is a free game and this is a banner, and the designer designed the banner. And then he got X amount of downloads. Then someone said, let's make it spicier. So now the designer thought, okay, to increase downloads, I'll change save your lover, play now, my lord. More exciting. And then, a bit more cleavage usually helps with click-through rates. And then followed by this, play discreetly now on your browser. Build your empire, rule the world. And this is an actual ad from an actual game. And this is the final that they did. So it did drive downloads, but once people found out that this is actually a medieval game and not some porno game, active users didn't grow. So in summary of my second point, don't get caught up in your own creatives. You have to look at data and then identify and measure your one matrix that measures and what impacts it. So my final point about growth, because we're a tech company. So fire bullets before firing cannonballs. And what this means is that if you've ever worked for a tech company or a digital company, the most sacred and valuable resource is actually your engineer's time. I always ask my engineer, hey, can I have this? Can I have this? I want this, I need this. And the answer is always the same. They're like, can with enough time and money. And I'm like, my God, I got competitors everywhere. This is, So I think for us, what this means is for us, whenever we want to build something, it's a continuous iterative cycle. We build, we learn, we measure, and then it just keeps going round and round. And I'll give you an example of how this works for us. We had a huge database of people who have downloaded our app but never used it before. And we said, we need to re-engage people that already download our app because it's so hard to acquire. Let's try to just make them use us, right? They have the app. How do I get them to use us? And we said, let's give our new users a discount. But in the app, it wasn't possible. So we did it the ghetto way, without too much tech help. So we then put it in the app. You can key in a code in the app inside the notes to drivers. This isn't, if you look at my app today, you will see that it has the word promo code. In the past, it's just notes to drivers. You have to key it in there with a hashtag. So we did that. We started with that. And then that allowed us to test whether or not people actually use it, what were the complaints, what were the parameters we needed for the promo code to work. And then, of course, after that, with all of that results, we showed it to our tech team and management and say, look, this is something that is really useful and really important. And so then they started building it. And so today we have a dedicated field in the app which validates the promo code. We have many levels that, it can be for first-time user, one-time use, and things like that. So in summary, I just wanted to wrap up my presentation. 3 things that really helped us grow. The first one is adjusting and iterating the product until we got it to the right product market fit. And then we started to spend on marketing. And the second thing is when you start to spend on marketing, remember, let data help you make the decisions, because the most cute and funny and nice and wonderful creative might not deliver the right results. And if you are a tech company, or even if you're a traditional company, maybe you should try something first. Try it and see whether it works before putting all your eggs in one basket. So, what is growth hacking? I think maybe not everybody here is familiar. It's a combination of marketing. So in this case, I was like, hey, new users. So all of you here who are new users, I'm sending you a marketing message now. If you key in the word first into the promo code of my app, you will actually get 45 ringgit, 15 ringgit off your first 3 rides. So that's a marketing message I'm sending to you. Then the second thing is about product, right? So my tech team built a product that allows this promo code to work. And lastly, data. Why 15 ringgit and why 3 rides? Why is this promo that I designed for you that way? Because data shows us that the average fare in Klang Valley is 15 ringgit, and users are 50% more likely to become active after taking 2.5 ride. So that is basically what growth hacking is all about. Scalable and repeatable growth driven by data, product, and marketing. And that ends my presentation. Thank you.